Hello, we are going to look at how to factor quadratic expressions and equations. I'd like to draw your attention here first of all to the basic format we are going to be working with. A and B are going to be coefficients for x to the second power and x to the first power. There's an invisible 1 there, don't forget. And C will be for our constant. Normally when we are working with these, when we're going to be doing the factoring that we will do, we set the equation equal to 0. Not always the case, but we're going to be doing that quite a lot. That's why I did that there. So let's start looking at ways that we can factor this. Once we factor, then we can eventually solve. So one way is to look for the greatest common factor, your GCF. And what this means is a factor is a number that another number is divisible by. Well, if you're looking for a common factor, you're looking for a common number that two numbers are divisible by, such as 14 and 21 are both divisible by 7. 7 goes into 14, 7 goes into 21. That is their greatest common factor. We're also dealing with integers here. We're not going to be dealing really with any tenths or hundredths or the like. And the greatest, because that's going to be the most useful, so we don't have to keep dividing over and over again. So let's take a look here. I have x squared plus 2x. This is a quadratic expression because I have this x squared there. So let's take a look. In this case, my a would be equal to 1 because there's an invisible 1 right there. 1 is your coefficient because 1 does not change the value of x squared. 1 times x squared is x squared. What is my b value here? Well, b is equal to 2. And what is c? Well, really this is the same thing as writing plus 0. So in this case we would say that c equals 0. Alright? So we're curious, what is the greatest common factor of what we've got here? And let me change colors here a little bit so we can see. I'm just going to go back to my original x squared plus 2x. We don't need to use all of these right now, alright, but it's good to be aware of them when you look at these expressions. That gets your mind turning and thinking about what method you should be using. Anyway, back to x squared plus 2x. What is the greatest common factor? What can I divide x squared by as well as 2x? Well, I've got a 1 here and I've got a 2 there, so there's not going to be any constant coefficient that I could divide the coefficients by that's going to get me anywhere. But check it out. This is really just x times x. And 2 times x, well, hey, I've got x in both of these because this is really x times x plus 2 times x. So if I factor out one of the x's, this becomes x times x plus 2. If I were to distribute this, I get x times x plus 2, distribute, that's x squared, distribute to the 2 plus 2x. That's exactly what I had back up there. Alright, so greatest common factor. It can be a variable. It could as easily be like a constant. So I could have something like 3x squared plus 6x plus 9. Well, immediately you should see right away all of the coefficients and the constant there are divisible by 3. So we could factor that out and that would become 3x squared plus 2x plus 3. If you distribute that out, you will see that you get the exact same thing. Okay, that is one method. Again, that is your greatest common factor, your GCF. You can also, if A is equal to 1. So in other words, if your leading coefficient is a 1, you can use something that is called the cross method. All right. Basically what that means is if you've got a times x squared plus bx plus c, you can make a cross, like I've done right here. Okay. Put b on top, put c on the bottom. You want to find two numbers that will fit in here, the sum of which is equal to b, the product of which is equal to c. All right? Let's see how one of these works, and it will be a little bit more clear. So, for example, I've got k squared minus 2k minus 15. I'm just going to ignore this equals 0 for right now, but hey, get used to it because we see that a lot. So, I want to start out by making my cross, and remember your b goes on top. What's your b? Well, in this case, b is equal to not just 2, but you've also got to keep this guy in mind there. That's negative 2. You cannot ignore the minus or plus signs. You need to keep them to be a part of the numbers that you're working with. Okay, so that's negative 2. So if we're doing that, then what is c going to be? C is negative 15. So I want to find two numbers that when I add them together, I get negative 2. Remember, this is the sum. And two numbers that when I multiply them give me negative 15. So I can start listing out some of the factors here of, excuse me, negative 15. I could have 1 and negative 15. Let me change colors for this just to make it a little bit clearer. Okay, I could have 1 and negative 15. If I add those together, they'll give me negative 14. Not going to work. 2 won't work. 3, ooh, I could do 3 and negative 5. If I do 3, this looks promising. 3 plus negative 5 is equal to negative 2. That gives me what I want up there. And then 3 times negative 5 is equal to negative 15. Hot dog. There we go. So now I've got 3 and negative 5. Those are the two numbers that I've got. What this becomes now is this. I can say that k squared minus 2k minus 15 can be factored out into, this is how I set it up. I'll put my k's in there. Put them in exactly as the values that you've got up here. So I have a positive 3. K plus 3. I've got a negative 5. K minus 5. So these two expressions are equal to each other. If you have any doubt, you can always do a little bit of distribution. So I like to use the good old box method here. There's my box. K plus 3. K times k is k squared. K times negative 5 is negative 5k. K times 3 is 3k. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Write all these out. This gives me k squared minus 5k plus 3k minus 15. Simplify. K squared, that's done. Minus 5k plus 3k. Add those two together. Minus 2k. Those are done. Minus 15. And this is exactly where I started from. Okay, so that's the second method that we can use to factor out here. We can also combine both of these together. So don't freak out if you should see something that requires you to do both. So for example, if this is my expression, right away what do you see? Well, I've got a 4, I've got a 4, and hey, that's also divisible by 4. So I should see right away that I can factor out 4. This becomes m squared. This is just your GCF. You're pulling it out. M squared. Whoop, I put an X when I should have put an M. You know what I'm talking about there. Plus M. And then what is, this is really negative 80. Negative 80 divided by 4. Well, that would just be minus 20. Okay. Now, if I put this guy to the side for a moment, this goes back to the rule where for my cross method, where I've got a 1 in front of the m squared. So I can make, let me change colors here, we're moving to a different part. I can make my new b, okay, is positive 1, and my new c is negative 20. I've already got the 4 out, so my a's, b, and c, all those will change because I'm only focused on this right now. I've already got the 4 out of there. That's old business. Two numbers added together will equal 1, and the product is negative 20. So I start listing my factors of negative 20. 1 and negative 20 added up give me negative 19. Not going to work. 2 and negative 10. Well, 2 plus negative 10 gives me negative 8. 3 is not going to work. 4 times negative 5. 4 plus negative 5 will give me negative 1. But not 1. 5 and negative 4. 5 plus negative 4 give me positive 1, and 5 times negative 4 give me negative 20. There we go, 5 and negative 4. So then this part here will become m plus 5 and m minus 4. Don't forget the first part that you factored out, the 4. All right, and then this would be your final result. Review this if you need to. Give me your questions. Practice it out. You will be able to do perfectly well with this. Thank you for your time. Have an awesome day.